Hello world, my name is Silva Draconis and welcome back to Trauma Team. In the last episode, we got to meet Hank and find out that he's a bit of a superhero sort of figure on the side. And that he also stopped some supposed drug lord? Drug lord. I think he's a drug lord. Theodore Gacy. He stopped Theodore Gacy from getting away as his Captain Freebird? I don't remember what his superhero name is. My memory is not great. But yeah. He stopped Mr. Theodore Gacy, so now we'll be going and doing Naomi's mission. Now so far, I haven't had any issues with audio artifacting. So we'll see if that trend continues, and it's fine, or if it's going to be proven to be these longer missions like the diagnostics and the forensics. We'll see. We also did get an introduction to Naomi in the last episode, and that kind of showed that she has a bit of a sordid past and was put into like witness protection and stuff for unmentionable things. So let's get into it.
We've received word about you. Miss Kimishima, is it?
Good. This will make things easier. Where's the victim?
He's over here. This way, please.
Victim is Dennis Taylor, 30-year-old male. Neighbor called in the fire. The fireman found him. The knife in his hand matched the cut wounds. Probably suicide.
Huh. What's this?
Oh, that's where the fire started, likely before the suicide.
Oh right, will this actually work?
Miss Kimishima?
Oh, it only does. I'm gonna hold the Wiimote up to the mic then. The actual Wiimote is buzzing. Oh no. The sound part doesn't work. It buzzes, but it doesn't play sound through it. Okay. I may have to configure that in settings then. No, you'd hear that through the Wiimote. I didn't know that it... wouldn't work like that. Oh well.
Are you feeling all right?
This was murder. Send the corpse to CIFM immediately. I'll examine it. I want all finger and footprints found in that room. If you find anything, contact me directly. I'll be at the lab.
Zoom.
What was that about?
Well, she does work at the forensic medicine laboratory. Supposedly, she solved a lot of cases for the FBI.
The FBI?
That's right. That means we need to keep out of this. Come on, hurry down to the car for the fingerprint powder.
Oh, right away.
Let's begin. This is Dr. Naomi Kimishima, ID 422194. Hey, little guy. Tell me what we know so far about this.
Oh, right. The victim's 30-year-old Dennis Taylor. At 3:30 p.m., someone in the same building reported a fire. The firefighters found the body in bed 20 minutes later. He had a knife in one hand and a deep wound on his wrist. The door was closed and chained. It's being ruled suicide.
Nonsense. Is that your personal opinion or your FBI training?
Look, isn't that the most reasonable fitting explanation?
I thought people learned when they grew older.
Doctor, what do you mean
Let's begin. Show me how this life's flame was snuffed out.
Yes. Dennis Taylor, age 30, gender male. Man found dead in his apartment. Firefighters found the body. The door was locked. Let's start the autopsy. The truth can never truly die. Yeah, I will have to find a way to configure that in the settings so the sound plays just through the game. Oh, that's right. There's a lot of reading I'm gonna have to do for her. Because like with Gabe, there's portions where she doesn't voice it. Now, let's first take a look at the corpse. Have the body taken to the evidence room. You're free to examine it whenever you want. I don't know how to do little guy's voice, so it'll just have to be normal. Alright, I'll head over there right now. Dr. Kimishima, one more thing before you go. What now? The information that we know up to this point has been sent to your computer. If you don't mind, would you please check that out? Alright. I'll take a look at my computer then. Press A, save. Hint cards. Information gathered is displayed on the computer as hint cards. Grab a card with A and B, release a card in the top right. Practice my analysis. So we can send stuff to little guy over here, and then we'll also be able to combine hint cards for more evidence. But first we're going to send this knife to little guy. Also, I like that it's a me icon. I always found that funny. Is this the knife that was in the corpse's hand? I'll look into it over here. Can you give me some time? So he does stuff like he can analyze blood work, he can look at fingerprints, chemical powder, stuff like that. There's Mio's body is found in bed in his room. I need to know what happened the day of the incident. Alright, let's get out of here. Locations, yes. There's also a voice recorder, which we'll get to later, where we can listen to testimonies from people. Move to the place you want to go and press A. And we can also, when we leave to the scene, we can choose different places. First, to the evidence room. Examining a corpse. Point to the corpse in the autopsy table and press A. And we can also do that for the personal effects. Let's start with the personal effects, and then we'll go to the corpse. Change angle, A zooms out. Use A to select anything suspicious. Like, let's get a look at the personal effects. Okay. So, there's obviously bloodstains on this thing. The deceased was wearing a white dress shirt. There are bloodstains on the left sleeve. Is that not suspicious? No? Maybe I gotta examine the corpse first. I can never remember how these tutorial missions are supposed to go in order of. On exam, blah blah blah, it's the same thing. Like wounds or bruises. Alright, so obviously we know there's gonna be a wound on this left hand here. Hello?
This wound on the wrist is believed to be the cause of death. Even though this looks like a self-inflicted wound made with a sharp knife, there's something unnatural about it.
Ah, and then we also get quizzes. Answering quizzes, select the answer with A, then select OK with A. Incorrect answers lower the upper gauge. If it empties, you fail. Let's consider the slash wound on the left wrist. If the victim did commit suicide in this way, the wound is odd is that slash wrist isn't fatal, which isn't true. No signs of healing, no bleeding, and no signs of pain reaction. I believe I remember what this is, but it also makes sense. There's no signs of pain reaction at all. And it's not easy to do that. Such a straight line.
That's right. There's only the one wound on the wrist. A single slash, deep enough to reach the artery. No matter who it is, pain is an immediate response to a cut. No one should be able to make a single cut this clean and deep without flinching. I can't say this is proof of homicide, but I can't ignore this incongruity.
Okay, let's continue looking. That looks like a broken finger. Hello.
There's something odd about the index finger on the right hand.
Of course, this indicator of bent outversion. This was caused by fracture. It's broken. It's fucking broken.
Indeed. We can't say what's wrong with it for sure until it's sent in for analysis, though.
I do like Gabe and Naomi's. I will get to that in a minute, but I am gonna say I do like Gabe and Naomi's sections for recording a bit more. I'm discovering because it gives me more things to talk about rather than just holding my breath, trying to do things as accurately as possible. But this.
A bruise? It's oddly shaped, though.
Ding. Okay, so we got the broken finger, we got a bruise, and his eyes are all red. That ain't good. Something odd about the eyeballs here. The abnormality noticed in the corpse eyeballs was red spots in the eyeballs. He was staring right at me. Oh god. No, red spots in the eyeballs.
Yes, there appear to be spots of hemorrhaging in the eyeballs. This isn't a common condition. Perhaps I should ask Little Guy about it.
That should wrap up what I can learn from here. I should review the gathered information. And like with Gabe, there's normally a little text prompt like that lets you know, hey, you're done for now at least. Information I can gather at this point. So we don't even need to look at the effects for now. Few more things bothering me about this corpse. I know I'm already wounded wrist and a whole finger. Let's get back to the office. Nope. I used my computer to sort of information I've gathered. Try doing that now. Blah blah blah. But we're getting a call back from Little Guy. Hello. Go to the upper right panel, press A. What's up, Little Guy?
Kimishima, the results of the examination of the knife have come in. Let's see. The knife itself is a cheap common brand sold all over the country. It will be difficult to locate where the knife came from. The blood left on the blade matches the deceased's. Only his fingerprints were found on the handle as well.
I see. At least one thing is clear now. That is...
Fingerprints and the blood on the knife came from the body. That proves as the knife cut Dennis. Because we can't rule it was suicide. The knife is definitely used, and we can't say anything about whether it's his favorite or not, but it's the knife, that knife cut Dennis. That we know for certain. Knife has become deadly knife.
Yes. This knife is believed to have been used to slit the victim's wrist. Even then, we can't prove that unless we compare it to the wound.
Fusing hint cards. This is what I was talking about, where you can combine things. So we are going to take the knife and merge it with the wound over here.
The shape of the knife blade corresponds with the wound found on the wrist. This means that...
This shows that the knife was used on the wrist. Dennis cut his own wrist, and so there's no hesitation. The knife didn't wound Dennis. So obviously, this was used on his wrist. So we don't know any of these other ones. When was the knife used on the wrist? Slashing knife.
Indeed. This appears to be an open and shut case. Then again, this all seems a little too convenient for me.
Alright, so we need to send in the eye abnormality to Little Guy. Nope, I need to grab it.
Hemorrhaging in the eyes, you say? It's a condition called petechia, caused by increased blood pressure and spasms in the blood vessels. It's commonly found as a sign of death by asphyxiation.
Wait a second, that doesn't seem right. If I recall correctly, the victim...
Spots in the body's eyes are a sign of death by asphyxiation, which means you can't breathe, basically. Before that, it was believed that Dennis died of a slashed wrist. But if he died of a slashed wrist, then where are the asphyxiation
The cause
spots?
of death was thought to be hemorrhaging from a slashed wrist. If the cause of death is asphyxiation, it's possible that we are dealing with a homicide.
Little guy, check out this finger.
There's no mistake. This finger is fractured. Can you send me the details? We'll get an x-ray performed as soon as possible. Oh, and I have one more piece of good news, Dr. Kimishima.
Oh?
I've received a recording from HQ, a witness's account.
Hey.
Great, that will be useful. Who's the witness?
It's the deceased's neighbor. We've asked her some questions about the day of the incident.
Perfect timing. Maybe we'll be able to use her account to determine when the fire started.
Maybe.
I'll send the data over to you. Please check it using the recorder in your room.
You got it. Do I send the flower-shaped bruise to Little Guy? Can't remember. Let's try it. No. So we don't get fail marks if we send him the wrong codes, or if we like combine. If we combine the wrong cards and send in the wrong codes, we don't get fails, which is lucky because sometimes these can be a little out there on what you need to do. Now, but let's get out of here. So now we get to listen to witnesses' accounts. Kristen Langley, age 70, female. Dennis's neighbor. She was asked about what she observed the day of the incident. So we're just supposed to witness. We're not listen. Try to combine witness and listen. That didn't work. We're supposed to just listen this first time. We're not supposed to look for anything. So let's listen. Press A to hear witness statement. Point at words related to the topic in the upper left and press A. So yeah, if we're looking for something, it'll be basically the same as with Gabe's when we're trying to find symptoms. We just pick out the pieces of stuff. But for now...
Yes, that's right. Oh, it's been so hot lately. I've been keeping the window that faces out into the street open because of the heat. That's how I could hear my neighbor so clearly. It was, let me think, around 3 in the afternoon? Yes, it must have been. I was watching Farewell Danny at the time. I heard this loud noise from my neighbor's room, and then the fire alarm started going off a little after that. I was really surprised. I think it was about 10 minutes. I looked out the window and saw smoke coming from next door. I ran over to my neighbor's door, but nobody answered when I pounded on it. But I had to see if there was anyone in there, so I pulled on the door. It was chained from the inside, and no one answered me when I yelled. Yes, the fire truck came soon after that. A firefighter cut the chain on the door and went inside. My neighbor? No, it seems he lived alone. Oh, but I remember an electrician came at around noon. Yes, I heard him talking outside the front door, so I don't think I could be mistaken.
Alrighty. Wait, what do I do now? I don't remember. What was I supposed to do now? Shoot. When in doubt. I actually don't remember what I'm supposed to do. Let's do this himself. Hemorrhaging causal association. I don't remember what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing at all. What was I supposed to be doing? Oh, here we go. Okay, now that we've listened to it once, we can get the... There we go. Neighbor's condition.
Yes, that's right. Oh, it's
Been so hot lately.
I've been keeping the window that faces out into the street open because of the heat. That's how I could... It was... Yes, it must... I heard this... And then... I was... I looked out the window. I ran over to my neighbor's door, but nobody answered when I ran... But I had to see it. It was chained... Yeah. A firefighter cut... My neighbor? No. My neighbor... Oh, but I remember... Oh, but... Yes!
What was the neighbor's condition?
Yes, that's right. I've been keeping the window that... That's how I could hear my neighbor so clearly. It was... Yes, it must... I heard this... And then...
A loud
There we go.
noise followed by the fire.
I couldn't remember what I was supposed to be clicking. You'll see me do that a lot. So even though I played this game before, I know some of the things. I can't remember the details. I can't remember the details of what I need. So I was like, neighbor's condition. What does that mean? What does that mean? What do you want? What do you want from me? Fuck. No noise followed by the fire. That might be a clue. There we go. There we go. Now we get the thing.
The way she described it, the sound doesn't seem to have been something exploding.
No.
Could the noise have been made by someone in the room? Or something else?
It's like, I remember what pieces of evidence that are gonna be used, but I can't remember when I need them. There's a noise coming from the room at 3 p.m. and then the fire started. The fire really started after the noise began. We should be able to narrow down the victim's time of death to some extent. Okay, now we go to the computer. Apparently the neighbor heard something at 3 p.m. occurred soon after. Dennis was the one who made the sound. I think we combined these two.
The room was sealed, and the neighbor heard the sounds at around 3 p.m. The fire occurred not long after that. What we can deduce from that is...
The neighbor heard noises at 3 p.m. Fire started after. Dennis was alive until 3 p.m. Because we don't know if he started the fire, we don't know if he actually died around 4 p.m., and we don't know if he was dead before 3. But obviously the noises at 3 p.m. suggest that he was alive until then, so he must have died sometime after that.
That's right. At least, that's all we can determine using our current information. The deceased was alone at the time, so there's a good chance he made the noise. Still, we need more information to see if there was anyone else in the room when it happened.
Was anyone there? And we do know because there was an electrician there earlier. So now we just gotta fast forward to it. Was anyone there? I think it was 17? Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Electrician came
So
around
an
noon.
electrician had come to the deceased's room that day at around noon. That was much earlier than when the fire supposedly started, but we should investigate it.
Little guy. He's probably tell us about the fractured finger.
Ah, little guy. Perfect timing. It seems an electrician entered the deceased's room around noon on the day of the incident. If he's talked to your people, can you ask them for the recordings of the interview?
All right, I'll contact them immediately.
Please do. How's the analysis going?
Well, regarding the fracture on the corpse's finger, the right index finger was fractured by an external force. It's rather odd. There are no signs of healing in the fractured area.
No traces of healing. That would mean...
So, the thing is, I think she's gonna explain this, but bones, when they break, they start healing themselves really fast. So even if you die soon after, there'll still be small, minute traces of healing. But if there's no healing at all, it means the finger was broken after he died.
That's right. Reactions to injury, like minute healing and hypodermic hemorrhaging, are vital reactions.
Yeah, so she does explain.
They only occur while the body is still alive. Thus, if there were no vital reactions to this broken bone, the fracture happened... It must have occurred after the person was already dead.
That would have to be the case. Oh, and to be clear, there's no way that the body was damaged during transport. We take the utmost precautions when moving bodies.
Huh. I hadn't considered that until you brought it up. Still, I'll take your word for it. If his index finger was broken, using the hand would have caused a great deal of pain. With that in mind, he shouldn't have been able to use his right hand all that well.
Which is important for another little bit of thing we know. Because it was on his left wrist that was slashed, but his right hand was out of commission. So if he had gotten that when he was alive, like, it doesn't add up.
There was a wound in the left wrist and a fractured finger on the right hand.
Because there was supposedly no one there, so how would his finger have gotten a fraction after he died if he was lying in bed? But at the same time, if his finger was broken, then how could he have caused the wound so perfectly straight and deep?
This seems odd because
the knife was in an injured hand. He didn't use a knife at all. The knife is in an injured hand.
yes, the deceased would have had to hold the knife in his injured hand to cut his left wrist. Then he would have had to cut deep enough to sever the artery, putting pressure on his broken finger. Even if he was right-handed, this situation just doesn't add up.
Does not indeed. One thing I do need to check is we've been recording for some time. We'll go for a little bit longer and then I will end the episode because I don't want to go too long. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hello, Dr. Kimishima.
Got the small talk. What do you want?
So cold. HQ's questioned the electrician that the neighbor mentioned. I've sent you the recordings. It seems HQ already knew who he was, so there wasn't a problem.
Now we'll find out why that electrician went to the deceased's room.
Reason for entering the room. So we'll get this testimony and then we'll call it an episode. Oh, I forgot to read. Electrician who visited Dennis's room on the day of the incident. I cannot enunciate for the life of me today. He was asked about what happened that day. Liam Richardson, age 31, male. Why were you there?
Yes? Oh, yes, that's right. A murder? Yes, that's fine. He said his ear was broken and needed to be fixed. That was around noon, I think?
He fixed the air. We should focus on that. There's nothing odd about having a repairman come to work on the ventilation system. But, at the very least, Dennis was still alive when the electrician came. We need to learn about the deceased's condition at that time.
Dennis status. So we'll do that one as well, because that'll just continue us listening to the recording. Dennis's status. 2, 3, 4.
That was around noon, I think? I got the call earlier that day. Yes. He said he needed it fixed that day, so I went straight there when I finished the job I was doing. Yeah, it was really quick. All I had to do was swap out a cable. Right. I think I was only there for about an hour. Yes, I fixed his heater. A customer? Well, the way he looked, I wouldn't be surprised if he committed suicide. Around
It wouldn't be surprising if the deceased committed suicide. Sounds like an important detail. Does that mean the deceased had a motive for killing himself?
Maybe. Let's finish listening to the rest of that testimony, though. And then we'll call it an episode. We'll go from here. 6, 7, 8.
Yes, I fixed his heater.
I wonder if it'll let me touch this. Nope.
Yes, I fixed his heater. A customer? Well, the way he looked, I wouldn't be surprised if he committed suicide. Around 3 p.m.? No, I wouldn't have a clue. I was already fixing a washing machine at my next appointment's house at that time.
Alright. So that's all we got from that, and that'll be it for this episode. In the next episode, we will be continuing this investigation. More and more inconsistencies are starting to pop up about this mysterious Dennis Taylor. If that was his name. Dennis something. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. If you got any tips or tricks or anything you want to see me do, comments down below. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!